Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to the Menolounge. I'm Julie Gordon-White, CEO of MenoWell, Menopause, Energy, and Protein Bars. How are ya? I'm super excited. We have got the most incredible conversation today about how we can manage our symptoms with food, with the pillars of health, with an incredible doctor. So I'm going to bring her up. Let's see if I can grab her right here. This is always the fun part. I hope you guys had a good long weekend, honoring those that we've lost, who have taken such good care of us. Thank you, thank you, thank you for our freedoms, and just getting a little time to replenish, maybe with your family and friends, which I know is a pillar of health and wellness, especially in midlife. We've got Dr. Erika Siegel, who's going to be joining us shortly. I just sent you an invite, Dr. Siegel. Should I give a preview? Dr. Siegel has done something so incredible. These books are, look what she's created. Oh my gosh. I know Instagram always shows this backwards. I see you there, Dr. Siegel. I'm going to send you another invite just in case. Incredible book, but wait, look at all my tabs there. There's more, because this is a part of a set, one of two. You see me? I'm already bragging, Dr. Siegel. I'm so blown away. So nice to, let me scoot the camera here. So nice to meet you officially over Instagram, and Noelle on our team has been bragging about you for months now. So
Thank
so
you.
excited to have you. And I don't know. I'm going to have to work on my lifting because these books are so heavy, so filled with incredible wisdom, recipes. I mean, this is like, I've been going through this the whole weekend, and look at all my tabs already, you know.
Good.
These are all the hormone, perimenopause, pillars of health, aging well, and then the recipes. I'm just like, so many and so beautiful. I'm just going on and on. So you can just sit there and look amazing while I show everybody this incredible book with all the gorgeous pictures. Okay, and your two best stars in the book, though, I have to say, right? These guys are teenagers now. They're probably like, Mom, why'd you put so many pictures in the book?
Yes. Thank you, Julie. Thank you so much.
I'm so glad you're here, Dr. Erika Siegel from Portland, Oregon. You have been a naturopathic doctor for over 20 years, is that right?
Mm-hmm. I'm in my 21st year of practice.
That's so awesome, and so aligned with what we love and believe in at MenoWell, is that, you know, we need to do whatever we can as women. And I know you even comment on hormone replacement in volume 1, Essential Health Wisdoms, about hormone replacement. But let's start with food. Let's start by nourishing our bodies with nutrient dense foods and pillars of health, so we can feel amazing. So if we decide to go the hormone route, at least we're doing the whole 360, right? Not just one piece of it. So, all right, I'm going to turn this over to you. Tell us, how did you get started down this path, and why on earth did you decide to create all of this incredible legacy goodness for people everywhere? I'm doing my workout.
Yeah, it's part of your workout. Well, thank you, Julie. Yeah, I would say for many years in my practice, I realized that I was teaching people the same thing over and over again. And there really wasn't a one size fits all reference that I could point them towards. Yeah. So I started compiling and writing, and, it was just inspired by also a desire to teach and just creatively put information together in a way that I felt would be accessible and friendly and invite everyone to the party. It's not Western, it's not Eastern, it's really a compilation of all therapies that we know of, in the modern times to help support people. Obviously, it's a lot of how to raise families and raise ourselves. And certainly most of my audience and readers are women. And so I really want to make sure that we're taking good care of ourselves throughout our lives, so our transitions are easier, so we feel good, and we have the energy to show up in our lives in big ways, which is, what this time is calling for. We need to show up for our families, for our community, for ourselves. And it starts with taking good care of ourselves with the foundations.
I love that. And, you talk right out of the gate about the pillars of health.
Yes.
I have so many tabs in here. I'm going to miss all of them. But right out of from the start, the Nourish Me pillars of health, as explained in this chapter, right? So overall, first of all, you have this really cute picture and post-it that says, you don't have to be perfect to be awesome, which I love that.
Right. I have it right behind me here. It's, in our kitchen all the time.
Well, because especially as women, especially, after many years of accomplishments, we tend to still hang around that place of perfectionism. And, as we transition and figure out, how do I manage my body? How do I feel better in my body? Because I'm going through all the things. And there, that sort of paralysis from perfection. I need to do this. I need to do that. So I really like that little post-it that you have there. But in terms of the pillars, nourish, feed your body what it needs. Breathe, move, rest. We could just stop right there, right? De-stress, your perspective, your environment, and technology. Huge. Connect, community, intimacy, and touch. And then heart speak. I love that you include this. Be your heart's best advocate from all perspectives. So should we touch on some of these, each one of these a little bit here? Going back to Nourish, which is your whole thing, Nourish, which we love that word around here at MenoWell. Feed your body what it needs. Tell us a little bit about that.
Right.
That's a huge.
It is huge. And the idea is that our food is our best and primary medicine. And what we put in our body every day informs our body to build our cells and heal our tissue. And if we are sending correct messages to our body, then we are giving it the substrate to be healthy and strong and corrective action when things go awry, because our body is always trying to heal. It's always working on our behalf. And if we provide our body with good nutrition, then that's honestly the best thing that we can do. It's not really about a week-long or a month-long cleanse, but what are we doing day to day that is informing our body in appropriate ways? And the information's all out there, and we really do know it. Like, if we all had to sit down and take a test on nutrition, most of us would do pretty well. So how do we implement that in our day to day? How do we make sure that every meal looks pretty good? I mean, it doesn't have to be 10 out of 10 gangbusters every single meal of your life, but giving yourself the opportunity for breakfast to be significant. Maybe not just a bagel and cream cheese. Could it be eggs and veggies, or beans and rice and zucchini? How can you weave good nutrition into your entire day? How can you think about your day knowing you're going to be hungry in a few hours? So planning ahead, making a whole tray of veggies or roasted chicken or tempeh or whatever you're making for the days ahead. How can we make this easy for people so they can feel well fueled and have good stable blood sugar, have proper macronutrients and micronutrients, because we need it all really for our body to be at optimal function.
So you're not a fan of just cutting out entire macronutrients.
Exactly. I'm not going to, say carbohydrates are bad for you or fats are bad for you. Our body needs all of it. There's only 3 macronutrients. There's carbohydrates, fats, and protein, and we need them all.
Right.
It's how we build our bodies, how we build our muscles and our bones and our brain. And it's really about choices, the sources and the choices of those foods that turn out to be the most important.
So, all right. So let's dig in a little bit there. So sources and choices, tell us about that.
Right.
Because there's a lot in that, especially around organic. Where do we get the food? How much does it cost? It's not always that accessible for everybody. So let's, I think, are we going to have enough time today? I don't think so.
I know, right? Well, we can do this.
You're going to have to come back.
3. Food choices, keeping it clean and simple. When you are choosing your food, I like to say choose food that your grandparents would recognize as food. If it comes in a package with a zillion ingredients, well, it might be problematic. If you know, when food has been refined, processed, and pressed, it has less nutrient density, it has less vitality, it is usually lacking in something important from where it started. And when we think about our plate, having a lot of our plate, you know, maybe even 50% of our plate being represented by vegetables. So a plant forward diet. I'm not saying a vegetarian diet is necessary for all people. In fact, animal proteins can be a very healthy, important part of many people's diets. And that comes back to sourcing. If you're going to eat animal products, they should be really pristinely sourced, because you don't want your animals to be eating hormones and pesticides and have you know, exposure to all these things that are going to concentrate in their flesh, and then you're going to take into your body and build your body out of it. So when we're thinking about sourcing organic, free range, hormone free to the best of our ability, luckily more and more supermarkets are offering these options, including Costco and grocery outlets. So while it can be more expensive to shop this way, there are more options than there used to be. And if you cook your own food, that's always going to be less expensive than eating out.
That's a huge start, right?
Yeah.
Just in making a step towards choosing whole foods, clean foods that nourish our body is cooking.
Yes.
Cooking. Because we're an eat out society, you know, it's just very easy takeout. And, you know, for me, I know you have 2 sons, I raised 3 kids, and those days were hard sometimes, you know, always to have food and full-time career, two career families. So it's really, I look back on those days, and it's easier for me to say that now as an empty nester. You know, I always cook now, but at the time I didn't always want to cook because it was hard. But it's probably one of the biggest gifts we can give our families, I would say.
It is, and to teach our kids. And you know, in our family, we had our kitchen as the central part of our life, and activities were often around making food. So I would let the kids choose anything they want to make. Like, let's look at a cookbook and choose something fun, and allowing that to be part of the way that our family would spend time together. So instead of it being this thing that just one parent is doing on their own in the kitchen while entertaining, the other kids are maybe on a screen or being entertained elsewhere, bringing them into the kitchen, and then it makes it more productive, more fun. And then eventually they help a lot. I mean, our kids are 15 and 17 now, and they cook everything. I mean, they can cook everything. They do cook everything. We task them with recipes. They help, you know, not only that, they will have us help them. And so it is a long game with the kids, but making that a priority, even if you don't love it, it's sort of like exercise. You might not love it, but you know it's good for you, and it feels good when you do it. You never regret doing it. You don't say, darn, I wish I hadn't gone to that yoga class.
Right.
And the same thing with cooking. If you're going to make a meal, make twice as much and freeze half of it. Like, just starting to think ahead and incorporate more tips and tricks to make your food last longer, become more efficient with it, so you have healthy food available.
I love it. There's so many little hidden things in there. I know.
Yes.
All the good stuff, but I really like the idea. And you know, it's never too late, because my husband and I are just started to cook more with each other. And in midlife, maybe you're spending more time with your partner that you didn't spend in the kitchen. And here's another chance for going back to one of your pillars, you know, intimacy, which cooking is kind of sexy, I think, you know, with your partner, and it can be really fun and a good way to reconnect. I think too, with
engages the senses. Anything that engages the senses makes us feel more in our body, makes us feel more connected to other people, and cooking is a beautiful way to do that.
I love it. All right, let's talk about breathe, move, rest. You know, breathing, movement, we got that. The rest, not so much, you know. But what actually breath, I would say, we know that we need to sleep, we know that we need to move, but let's talk about breathing, because we really underestimate the value of oxygen and real breath. I think many women, myself included, you know, we're kind of like shallow breathers, always sort of at the, you know, just because we're doing, not being conscious. So talk about breathing and the impact of that, especially.
Well, I think that this is such an important thing to touch on, because it is something that we do unconsciously, and so we can just say, oh, well, that's taken care of. But our breath is actually the only part of our nervous system that is consciously and unconsciously navigated. So we unconsciously breathe, right? It's an involuntary action, but then we can bring our awareness to it and have it be a voluntary action. We can increase the depth of our breath. We can exhale for longer and slower. And that is where we can connect in with our nervous system and help support the nervous system going from that sympathetic, run from a tiger, sit in traffic and be late for a meeting. We can go from that sympathetic nervous system state to the parasympathetic nervous system state. This is crucial for us. This is crucial for our production of hormones, to not be overproducing cortisol, which we know wreaks havoc for our adrenal glands, for our ovaries and our thyroid, and that whole
belly,
and belly, which we could talk about more, because I know a lot of the audience that are, women who are wanting to smooth their transition into menopause. The simple act of breathing, intentionally slowing down the breath, filling the abdomen and the lungs as much as you can, and then really getting rid of all that air, expelling all of the air that you can, like even forcibly at the end, to allow for more oxygen to come in. That has been shown to be instrumental for our nervous system, our immune system, obviously our respiratory system, cardiovascular. It can help women who are in perimenopause and menopause, who have more of the vasomotor symptoms of hot flashes and kind of getting even dizziness or ringing in the ear, vertigo. The breathing can really help to regulate the nervous system. A lot of women will say that their hot flashes get worse when they're stressed or when they're in an acute moment of stress. So this is the time to close your eyes and take 5-10 deep breaths, 6 seconds in, 6 seconds out, to reset your nervous system. And we teach kids to do this all the time when they're upset about something. Okay, take a deep breath.
Right.
This is, we can be using that same wisdom for ourselves in these moments when our nervous system is in a flurry, our hormones are doing their little dance. We can always return to the breath. We can do it anywhere, in a meeting, on a phone call, on a Zoom call. We can slow down our breath and re-engage with our nervous system in a healthy way, where we are, actually regaining some control.
I love that. I think it's one of our very best tools.
Yeah.
It is, and I think Karen Murphy says intentional breathing.
Yes.
And that is because we do it automatically, thank goodness, right, while we're sleeping. But we do have that ability to be thoughtful and have it as a way to reconnect to ourselves, to calm down, to take a minute. Yes. And so important during the experience of menopause. Some days are fantastic, some days are rough.
Right.
And when we're feeling that, we always have that available to us, and it's free. It's always there, and it's always free. So I love it. Good. Okay, let's see. Our next pillar is to de-stress. Okay. How are we gonna do that?
I mean, this is, this will kind of ride on that last idea of toning the nervous system into a state where it's going to be working more efficiently for you. So if you're in the parasympathetic state, your body is going to get to its cue of healing. It's going to produce its hormones more efficiently. Your adrenals are going to be working in concert with you and not just pumping out more cortisol. And so de-stress is this idea of having a realistic observation of your life. What is causing you stress? What are maybe the toxic patterns in relationships? What can you let go of consciously? What can you say, oh, well, to, because you can't let go of it? It's something you still have to navigate.
Okay, wait, that's a great nuance between letting go and oh, well. So, oh, well means what? Like, is that a form of letting go, or what is that?
Oh, well means there's nothing I can actively do about this in this moment. So I'm going to say, oh, well, take a deep breath, and then try to regain perspective again.
That's really good.
Yeah, it's not being apathetic, and it's not ignoring.
Yeah.
It's saying, is there anything I can do in my power about this right now? No.
Yeah.
You're in that car, you're in traffic, you're late for that meeting. What can you do? You can call the person who's anticipating your arrival and let them know, I'm going to be late. That's it. The rest is, oh, well. You put on your music. You're going to be in the car for the next 10 minutes anyway. you might as well breathe and just be there. There is nothing you can do. And where else can you apply that in your life? And it's actually really powerful. It's one of those little hacks where you're like, huh, oh, that's kind of interesting. I'm allowed to say, oh, well, even though I, usually would churn about this thing.
Yeah.
So
especially now, especially midlife.
Yeah.
Oh, well, like it's
Right.
There's a fine line between like, oh, well, and like, oh, well.
Yeah. Exactly. And then,
they're both empowering though.
And taking time to de-stress, allowing that to be just as important as the other things on your schedule. So that could be a walk outside in your backyard, barefoot, do some grounding, get some nice energy into your body. It can be an evening date with girlfriends. It can be a hot bath, whatever that de-stress is for you, recognizing it as being as important as doing the dishes or managing work or family. It is crucial. We need that other side of our nervous system to be nourished, and being honest about what your stressors are and finding ways to mitigate them, support them, and decrease them.
Beautiful. I love that. That's in our control, and we deserve it. And we deserve that. That is all what you're describing is what we would call self-care.
Right.
Self-care is not always just go get a massage. No, it's what do we have in the moment that we can do
day to day.
Day to day. Okay. Connect, community, intimacy, and touch. Physical touch.
Yeah.
I'm hot, don't touch me.
Right.
Okay, how do we get that?
Yeah, you can also say I don't want to be touched. Right? Just understanding that we are organisms, we are people, humans that are built to be in community, to be in connection. No one is an island, even though sometimes we might want to crawl back into our cave, and that's okay to request that and to say, hey, I need space. Yeah. But making time for connection, making time for intimacy, making time for a coffee date with a girlfriend, or exchanging a foot massage with a friend or your partner, or having touch and connection be an important part of your life, something that you commit to. The research is really interesting around loneliness and lack of touch and connection, and it shows that being lonely or being out of community and connection can be as dangerous as pretty much the worst chronic diseases and the worst habits that we've heard of. So maintaining that and making it a priority, especially as we age and it becomes easier to, to be alone, finding ways to connect and to physically be touched, even if it's by, someone who does a pedicure or facial or body work, or a friend that just, exchanges, you can exchange a foot massage with a friend platonically. That touch is important. Our skin actually craves touch and desires that. And you can have touch with a pet. That's a great way to get connection and a form of intimacy and touch is cuddling up with a pet. We know how healing that is.
I love that. I don't really think about that so much as part of what we need, like touch. I mean, of course we need touch, but you don't always think about it intentionally, right? Consciously. And as we go through our busy lives, sometimes, like, okay, all right, I'll see you at dinner or this or that. It's not always intentional. So
and hug your friends. They need it and you need it.
Hug your friends and your dog. I just got a new dog. I call her my service animal.
Right, of course.
I don't need a service animal, but some days everybody needs a service animal. Okay, so heart speak, huge. So this is something that for me, especially I'm postmenopausal, but perimenopause to post, everything around our heart. And we're talking here about nurturing your heart, your soul, but also nutrition and about our hearts, because being very direct, heart disease is the #1 killer of women. And so what I love about what you're talking about is you're talking about all the ways to nourish our heart, but also nourish through food and maintaining our health to make sure that we get ahead of that, because we don't need to. We can do things to impact our heart health in a 360-degree perspective. So love your take on that.
Yeah, this is about being in integrity with yourself, checking in. What is my yes? What is my maybe? And what is my no? and recognizing that things can change and we can change and we're allowed to change. In fact, we're supposed to change. And so if someone else has a vision of who you are and who you're supposed to be, recognizing that you don't have to uphold their idea of who you are and what you're supposed to be, including your family members, including your partner. And especially as we ease into perimenopause and menopause and these transitions where maybe our kids are also moving away from home or we're caring for our parents, and recognizing where am I right now in this moment, and having the integrity with yourself to be honest about it, communicate it, to nurture that person in that moment, even if it's not the person you desire to be in that moment. You can say, look, I'm really irritable right now and I can't be around you. I love you. I'm taking a walk. That's being in integrity with yourself, because you're being respectful of that other person. You're being respectful of yourself. You're communicating what your needs are. And just, I work with a lot of women middle-aged and up, and they recognize that some of their suffering is because they feel a conflict with who they are, who they want to be, and the people around them, and how to navigate that. So having that love for yourself where you can recognize what you want, whether it's a walk, a bath, time alone, time with friends, and communicating that and filling your life with things that fill you up and fill your heart up.
Yeah.
And then, how does that translate into your physical heart and your physical health? Well, if you have less stress and you feel more expressive and you can stand, upright with your chest out instead of, concave, your heart tissue, your heart muscle is getting more nutrition, more, a healthier environment. And of course, there's a lot of techniques that we can use in medicine to support our heart health, from our diet and our exercise patterns. And of course, hormone replacement therapy supports heart health because there's estrogen receptors in the heart. Right. And, recognizing, like you said, the 360 requirements of the heart, and it's all of it. It's from food, movement, sleep, rest, communication, love, connection, the whole thing.
So good. So good. I just love your perspective, especially, it's not just eat this and do this, right?
Right.
Which is the naturopathic way.
Yes.
Okay. You brought up hormones, and I know I've marked in this book here, I'm flipping here, about balancing hormones, because you have, I love it, a few additional words on perimenopause, menopause, and andropause for the men out there. Men always ask me, can I eat your bars?
And they should, because they're really good with good ingredients.
Thank you. That means a lot coming from you. And I always say, well, you have hormones, don't you?
Right, exactly. And actually the same hormones, estrogen, progesterone, and testosterone, just in different ratios.
Ratios. All right, so let's talk about, here we go, page 450. Here are some general tips to support hormone balance. So this was a great section here, and thank you for calling out. I know you are in the perimenopausal zone yourself.
Right.
So I'm glad you didn't leave all of us out. Right. So do you want to talk a little bit about what you shared here on some of those tips to support hormone balance on page 450?
Yeah. And so this is in the chapter called Aging Gracefully, which basically is kind of an extension of the pillars. How do we bring those pillars now into midlife and beyond and age gracefully? And the concept of balancing hormones is really a concerted effort of supporting the whole system. Our hormones are, it's like a really refined, orchestrated event in our body that's happening all the time. And so that concept of balancing hormones isn't as simple as, here, take this herb or take this medicine or even take this HRT product.
Right, because it's about they're always fluctuating.
They are always fluctuating within the course of a day, our circadian rhythm, within the course of a week, a month. There's all these fluctuations of our hormones. And the basic concept will always come back to the pillars. It's always the things that are, you kind of already know, but might need that inspiration to keep working on. A good, healthy diet that has a lot of micronutrients in it. So your vitamins and minerals, which are going to come from your fruits and veggies. Good, healthy fats. So we need the omega-3 fats and less of those omega-6 fats. We need fiber. we need vitamin D, we need sunlight. And so having the nutrition really dialed in, when blood sugar is more stable, all of our whole endocrine system hums along at a better clip and is more balanced. So blood sugar stability is going to come from having balanced meals, having those fats and proteins and fibers represented in each meal. There's the zone diet from the 90s, which was really popular. It turns out it's great for stabilizing hormones. The whole endocrine system does better when you eat with, about 40% carbohydrates, 30% protein, 30% fat.
I remember that 40, 30, 30, right?
40, 30, 30
from the zone diet.
The science
I do remember that.
Still shows that is a great way to stabilize hormones.
Yeah.
Another important aspect of harmonizing or balancing hormones is not having things in your life that are going to disrupt your hormones. So endocrine disruptors are the things that we find in our food, air, water, body products, cleaning products. And so how can you reduce that? How can you reduce your exposure to the plastics that actually act like estrogens in your body, and pesticides and growth hormones that will disrupt the function of your thyroid gland, your ovaries, the testes, the adrenals? We really need to clean up our act in order for our hormones to work well. So, there's the Environmental Working Group. They have a great website. It's called the Cosmetic Database. And you look up anything you use in your home, cleaning product, hair product, toothpaste, makeup, whatever. And it will tell you if it has endocrine disruptors in it. And then it will give you suggestions for a replacement. And that's really empowering when you say, okay, I can at least clean up this environment and reduce my exposure to the things that I'm putting on my body and in my body. And
it's really empowering to be able to do that. And I know for me, before perimenopause, honestly, I never thought about that stuff so much. Raising kids, like just keeping the whole machine going, until I became, until I was in menopause or into perimenopause. And then I started sort of one by one noticing and starting to clean up my environment and make better choices. And that's how I got there. And I'm still, it's a work in progress.
It is.
Always. But how do you help people who want to start making them? It feels kind of overwhelming. You don't go through your whole house and throw out every single cleaner. Well, actually cleaners, I threw all those out. Right. But what is a way to kind of get started? And that's because it can be tricky.
Well, you start today with everything you buy moving forward. Every bottle of salad dressing you buy, you look at the ingredients. And I can tell you right now, they're not going to be good because they're going to have canola oil in them, or soy oil or sunflower. Make your own salad dressing. But you start today with reading labels, being really honest about if how important this is to you, and starting to trade out. You can make your own cleaners. It is not hard. You can use those washer strips for your clothes instead of the big thing of liquid detergent.
What's that? I don't know.
The laundry strips. I love these laundry strips. So usually when we buy detergent, we buy a big old thing of detergent and we pour a full cup in and we put it in our washing machine. Well, we're buying mostly water, and then we're buying, usually not great products, chemicals that go along with it. The washer strips are this 2 inches by 2 inches, something like that. It's concentrated. There's no water. You throw it into your washing machine, and it's as effective as a full cup. So that's one example. I have a chapter in here called the web, healing the web. And it's all about environmental choices. How can we trade out? How can we be aware of what's actually healthy for us and what's being marketed as healthy for us? So you just start in slowly. Cleaning products, you just start trading them out. Food products, you start trading them out. Shop the perimeter of the supermarket. When you shop in the grocery area with the fruits and veggies and the poultry and the meat and the dairy, you're not going to get any weird ingredients in there if you're,
a lot harder to find weird ingredients on the edges. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's not easy, and it does take dedication, but this is how we're voting with our dollars. This is how it's changing. And it is changing, because I went to Costco 10 years ago and you could not find healthy products, and now it is completely changing. And and it's changing around the world faster than it's changing in the United States. And the more vocal we are and the more we spend our money in the right places, they will become more affordable and more available.
It's happening. I mean, we're noticing as MenoWell bars are now soon going to be in 174 stores in California, not quite to Pacific Northwest yet, but hopefully soon.
Yeah.
Because they want better ingredients in the center aisle.
Yes.
Right? People are demanding, they want a choice. If you're not, eat whole foods. We always say, eat whole foods. I eat whole foods.
Right.
But on those days, once a day, I need to get that extra fiber and this or that. And I have a go-to to do that.
Yes.
And so that's why it's really exciting time, because we consumers are demanding better choices.
Right.
In all the aisles.
Yes.
So hopefully by the time, we get to center soon enough, we'll have good choices there too with, no weird ingredients. But but it's happening because we're asking. We're just not willing to just go along with whatever the ultra processed thing is anymore. Right. We know better now.
Exactly.
So.
We do.
And it's less expensive.
Yeah.
It's not inexpensive. I won't say that. It's expensive to produce clean food with good ingredients. It is. But it's less than it used to be. So
and it's a worthy thing to support. I really love shopping at farmers markets and from my local farmers. And sometimes I'll get some pushback about it's more money. We could get it over here. And my feeling is I can't think of something more worthy to support in my community than our farmers who are trying to protect our soil and our water and our food.
Yeah.
And I want to vote with my dollars to support them in these small operations, family farms that are growing food with integrity and raising animals with integrity, because that is what we're going to put in our body, and we should be hopefully eating close to home.
Right.
So we're getting seasonal food and we're getting food that's really vibrant. And so I really, I've mentioned Costco a couple of times, but I really want to support my local farmers. I want to support the people that are within my community and protecting our soil, which is actually really, really important for our health and our water health and our animal health and our children. I could go on and on. I mean, it's
and food, family, and travel, just yes, right? Yes. So, and we have to be realistic. It can be all the things. You can go to Costco, you can shop center aisle, you can go to farmers. Let's do all the things and do it consciously and intentionally. That's the beauty, right? And we are worth it. Our bodies are worth it, especially in midlife. We worked hard to get here. We're worth investing in good food, good ingredients. Absolutely. So we don't want to, as my girlfriend Cantor would say, don't put ourselves on sale, don't cheap out on our nutrition.
It's true. And, I want to make sure that we also mention, because people are tuning in today to know about how to support my hormones in this transition. I want to make sure we spend some time talking about something that doesn't require any more money. And that's movement. Physical activity.
Let's talk about movement. We talk about movement a lot on this channel.
Building our bodies to be strong, able, mobile, because that is what is going to protect us. That is going to be our insurance for the next 20, 30, 40, 50 years. We absolutely, so I see that you featured Mary Claire's book on here, the new Menopause, which is excellent. And she talks a lot about we need to build our bodies to be strong and mobile. Stop thinking about being small and trying to be thin.
Skinny is out. Strong is in. Right.
And not to shame anybody's body, right? We are all trying our best and we all want to live in healthy bodies. And I just want women especially to know that building muscle is instrumental in our long-term health and our longevity. Our muscle mass acts like an organ system that produces hormones and metabolizes glucose really efficiently and supports our entire body's health and supports our bone health. Our muscles pull on those bones and then increase our bone density.
Right.
And when our muscles are strong and functioning, our mobility is better, our balance is better. The things that really get us in the end when we're older is osteoporosis, osteopenia, balance issues, falls, fractures. Of course, there's cardiovascular disease and dementia, all of that. And all of those things respond positively to having more lean body mass and building muscles.
Absolutely. You're singing our song around
yeah.
here. We talk a lot about lifting and, lifting progressively heavier. My goal is always to be able to lift a 50-pound carry-on over my head, although you can't put 50 pounds up there.
Yeah,
but when you're on the road, like I don't want some 20-year-old looking at me like, oh, old lady,
gonna get it up there, right?
Your back. Like, hell no, I got this.
Exactly.
Okay, so here's something tricky. We're plant forward. We're eating more plants. We need to get that protein in there. Let's talk about that, because I think sometimes people think that if you're eating a lot of plants, you're plant forward, that you're not getting enough protein. The only way you can get your protein is with meat and dairy. Now, I eat a lot of cottage cheese and Greek yogurt. I'm not going to say I don't. I do, because those are very easy ways to get my 20 grams plus a bar on top. Now I've got 32. Yep. Like, I'm good to go. But so what do you think about that? Help us out with the whole plant forward and protein piece.
Yeah, I mean, we need a lot of protein to build our body and for healing and for hormone production. And, we should shoot for somewhere around a gram per pound of ideal body weight. And it takes you have to be conscientious about getting protein at every meal. And I would say start with trying to get protein in every meal, including breakfast. That's the one that tends to, maybe be toast with jam and, not be protein full. There's a whole spectrum of foods that are high in protein, from veggies to animal products. The veggies, you have your nuts and seeds, your legumes and beans, and, weaving them into the diet, putting a couple scoops of hemp seeds or almond butter into your oatmeal or into your smoothie. You can put protein powder into that smoothie or into your oatmeal or into your yogurt. Your bars have 12 grams of protein?
7 to 8, depending on the flavor.
Yeah, which is pretty good for
high protein
a bar that like has real ingredients and not weird ingredients.
Yeah.
Of course, eggs are a good protein source, and you want them to be, but from chickens that are raised in a good environment, that haven't been treated with hormones and eating weird things. You want them to be free roaming. You do get protein from your veggies. Broccoli has a good amount of protein in it. Artichokes have a good amount of protein in them. There's some surprising protein sources out there, like spirulina. Now, it has a strong flavor, but if you can get behind it and put a spoonful in some water, you're going to get a good amount of protein plus a ton of chlorophyll and other important nutrients.
Really good. Yeah.
For nuts and seeds, I would recommend soaking nuts overnight, and then you can throw them in the oven and roast them yourself, so you're not getting roasted nuts that have oils on them that you would prefer to avoid. And the soaking makes them easier to digest. For beans and seeds, you can soak a lot of them first, and that will activate more protein. So I made hummus this week, which was really fun, by the way. I love making hummus. And I soaked my garbanzos overnight, and then I sprouted them for a couple of days. They just hang out on top of the sink in a little strainer, and I give them a little bath every, twice a day. And then I made hummus, and it was with sprouted garbanzo beans. So the protein content was actually more than regular hummus, and I was able to use olive oil instead of canola oil. So things like this, where you can make bean dips, and I have a really good pate in the cookbook. It's called the Portlandia pate, and it has beans in it and nuts in it, and are there beans in there? Anyway, it's really protein rich. And, just trying to find creative ways to get protein in. And then if you're going to have any animal products, just making sure that the source is as clean as you can possibly get and afford, because again, you're building your tissue from their tissue, and you want it to not be concentrated with hormones and pesticides and such.
So good. I love that. So, we have a clinical nutritionist on our team, and Barb, you and Barb have to meet up.
Good.
I think you guys would go nuts together.
Great.
Like, literally. But just, look how colorful that is. And that's something that just reminded me of what Barb always talks about. It's like having all these different colors. You get all these micronutrients. There's protein in there. So just enjoy food, try food, eat different kinds of food, because all these things, they just add up. And little things add up for us, right? We don't have to be perfect, but just keep adding and trying and doing all the good stuff.
And just looking at every meal. Do I have protein represented? Do I have my veggies and my fiber represented? And then you find that it isn't as hard when you just focus on, meal by meal.
I love it. Well, and we're going to run out of time because I want to ask you a couple more things, but making it easy. In the books, you have great tips to make it easier to batch, batch your proteins, things like that, because I find I can do very well with my eating when I plan ahead and I have plenty of things in glass containers in the fridge ready to go. It's when I run out of those things, that's when I have to really be intentional and not go side to that. So all right, that's where we're going to come back for another Menolounge on those things.
Cool.
Okay, we talked about a lot of things. Is there any tips that you want to share for today that we didn't talk about? And by the way, Kara Murphy says, do you feel strong? Do you feel you need strength training alongside yoga? Yoga's enough. I would say yoga is not enough. Yoga is beautiful. Do it, breathe it. Body work is great, right? Because our own body, you can do incredible things with our own body. But ladies, challenge yourself to add some weights. Don't, just pick up some weights, start where you are. Right. The more we can do, the better.
I would
That's
agree.
my take on it.
Yeah. Yoga has so many aspects to it that are going to work towards our longevity, the mobility piece, the strength and the balance.
And breath.
And
work too.
And the breath. And you can build your muscle through it because, if you do one-legged stance, one-handed standing, you will build muscle, but you can't progress because your body weight isn't going up. So you can't progressively load like you will with moving weights around. Same goes for Pilates. Really good for you, really great for the core, for protecting your muscles and your body from injury. But we actually can move a lot more weight than we think.
Right.
And we want to build our muscles up because otherwise they're going to start going backwards. They're going to start atrophying on us. That is the natural course of things. And when I've observed long-term yogis that pretty much only do yoga their whole life, women, I find that they are becoming more frail. They're not able to maintain the mass quite as much.
Yes.
So I would say, yes, lots of yoga, and pick up some weights and do squats and push-ups and lift them overhead.
I love it. It's kind of like nutrients. Like we need all the things. So do your yoga, do Pilates, do what makes you happy, do what you're going to do, and keep some weights, keep some dumbbells, have fun with them, and then just keep, adding. Okay, you have a super fan here, Moments of Marcy. Says, best advice
Marcy
ever received from Dr. Siegel, one meal at a time. Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, thanks.
Really good. Okay, so any parting tips you want to leave with us? We covered so much. I feel like we got a big overview. And if you're just getting here, please go on Dr. Siegel's website, right? Is nourishme.com.
Nourishme.com.
Or on Amazon if you're so inclined, because let's be real, who doesn't have an Amazon box?
Makes it easy. The Nourish.
And Kara, if you want to start lifting weights, just get Dr. Erika's books, and then you can lift these.
Right, exactly. They're 10 pounds together.
10 pounds. They come in this beautiful box set. And also, I think they are just a stunning gift. So get one for yourself and then get one for someone else. It's one of the most beautiful gifts that you can give to someone else. I have already started planning for my holiday giving here. So
good. And I do, and it's important to note that on my website, if people want to buy 4 or more, you can message me and I'll give you a wholesale code because they really are the best gift.
Well, and they last forever. These are the kinds of books that you pass to your kids, like you want to continue to have them. Such beautiful, thoughtful work that went into these books. So thank you for that. So, okay. Any tips you want to leave? Okay, go ahead.
What came to mind is that we can think of our self-care in five minutes at a time. I have 5 minutes. What am I going to do? Okay, I'm going to go get a glass of water and do 20 squats by the sink. Okay, I have 5 minutes. I'm going to breathe. I have 5 minutes. I'm going to chop veggies for dinner later on. So starting to think about how can the day become more efficient 5 minutes at a time. Those 5 minutes you may have spent doing something, scrolling or something that maybe isn't leading to you feeling better. Sure, there's time for scrolling, but we squander a lot of 5 minutes. And how could we use 5 minutes at a time to get to some of our goals? Some push-ups, some breathing, a quick phone call with a girlfriend. And then the other piece is what we said in the beginning. You don't need to be awesome. You don't need to be perfect to be awesome, right? Yes. Same thing applies. You don't need to go to the 1.5-hour yoga class. You can do 5 minutes of sun salutations. It doesn't need to be perfect to have significance and impact on your life.
And you just made me think you can scroll and squat at the same time.
You can scroll and squat. You can, just stack those habits.
I love it. Habit stacking is an amazing hack,
Yes.
and we can use it to create all kinds of wonderful, small, incremental, I don't want to say improvements because that feels like, I don't know, it's like a judgy kind of word, but we can just make our lives better.
Yeah. And we feel better, and then we can do more, and we can engage more, and make the world a better place because we can show up feeling good.
I love it.
Yeah.
Love, love, love. Okay. My last question I'm going to ask you, our brand is MenoWell. What does MenoWell, that term, mean to you?
I like that. I like that because it's really a positive take on this time of life that gets a lot of sort of negative feelings and trepidation. So how can we meno well, right?
Yes,
let's meno well.
Beautiful. Yeah. I love that. I love that you actually asked a question. How can we meno well?
Yeah, let's ask ourselves,
because opens it up,
right?
Yes, because we know our answers. We don't always take the time to ask ourselves thoughtful questions. Really good. Kara, thanks for being here today. Okay, don't forget, go on Amazon or go on nourishme.com. Get the recipe book. I don't know. Actually, if you don't get the whole set, can you buy them separately?
No, they come together in this box, the Nourish Me Kitchen box set. They're married. They come together. I tell people if you only want one, gift the other one. Someone will love it. But
you're going to want both
do
of them.
Work together.
Well, and I love that they're resources. So if you don't want to, you don't have to read it cover to cover.
Yes.
I just flipped through like, aging gracefully, whoop, went right there. Like, what does she have to say? And then hormones, find the things that you want. So super beautiful. I love your work. Please come back again. I want to talk about mitochondria too.
We could have a
section on mitochondria. And beautifully explained, because people think, I think most of us remember from, high school science, the powerhouse of the cell, but what after that, right? So, so if you'll do that, I would be super honored.
Let's do it.
Okay. Tell everyone where they can find you, and then that'll be it for today.
Okay. nourishme.com. That's where you can find me.
And on Instagram.
Instagram is Nourish Me Kitchen. Facebook, Nourish Me Kitchen, and I'll see you out in the world somewhere. And
they can book a call with you if they actually want to talk to you IRL, right, on your website?
It's true, yes. If you go to my website, you can learn how to work with me.
Beautiful. Thank you for your gorgeous work and putting it, codifying it forever.
Thank you for your work. Thank you for helping us meno well.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you, Dr. Erika. See everyone. Thanks for everyone being here, and see you next time on the Menolounge.
All right, thanks.
All right.
Bye.
Be well. Bye-bye.